Welcome back. If you've just joined us, we're talking about recent changes to the Constitution to increase the number of seats for non-constituency MPs. Now, before the break, we're talking about proportional representation, but we have a different system here in Singapore. We inherited the Westminster system, so it is the first-past-the-post system. So I would like to rather focus instead on the issue of debate, quality of debate, and what Singaporeans expect. Do you think that the quality of debate will increase in the House with more NCMPs? Gillian?
Well, I think it's up to the NCMPs to rise to the challenge. Very often, you know, the people on the ground say it's one-sided. You've seen in the past, recent past, the PAP MPs raising alternative points of view. You see the current NCMP asking some basic questions, whether it's immigration, what are the numbers we need. So I think that it's up to the NCMPs to rise to the challenge. Take appropriate the space that's given, make some key points of view that respond to what is the national interest, I think. And I have no doubts that citizens out there are savvy enough to know if somebody is just posturing or grandstanding, or there are some key policy points that substantively affect their lives. You know, and I don't think that this government is one that will not respond if there is a real substantive issue on the ground.
Ming Seng, what do you think?
Well, we are quite surprised that the PAP government actually appreciate the positive contributions of the NCMPs. Right? We are always painted as troublemakers, noisemakers,
Opposition,
and all
yes.
that. Yeah. But I think with this mindset of change, I hope, of course, we can rise to the challenge of providing more a constructive debate. However, I think the root cause is not so much of a debate. Like Siva Lim may oppose these changes, yes, but she cannot vote.
But she cannot vote on particular views on this, but of course the party can, because Mr. Lau Tia Khiang is in the House.
Alvin opposed it, but he has to vote according to the party whip. Yeah, right? So it doesn't reflect, at the end of the day, after you have all the diverse views, opposition, pros, but at the end of the day, when you vote, it doesn't reflect the true views.
So that would be a good argument for you to the electorate.
Yeah. But having said that, I think you'll see through the debates in Parliament that policy positions change, and from public assistance, increasing that, to the role of workfare, to the role of foreign talent, cycling even, you know. So I think that while a vote might be taken at that point in time on a certain policy position, the government still hears the concerns not just of NCMPs and PAP MPs, but certainly concerns of the citizens, and tries to respond to that. So it might be a yes today, might be maybe tomorrow, but then it might be policy C or D to mitigate some of the effects that come up. So I think that nothing is lost.
Alvin, part of your concern, besides the fact that populist views could be expressed, is it also because NCMPs do not have a constituency?
Well, I don't think that necessarily is a detriment. Obviously, they can't have the same rights as someone who wins an election. My concern, and I'll respond to Ming Seng's point about why one supported the bill, but my point is that if a majority of the population in a particular constituency have voted for somebody else, like it or not, there's an implicit sort of rejection of the other candidate. It isn't always as black and white as that. And the question is, how many of such minority support candidates should you come in? Are you moving closer to a system of PR, which is a different sort of debate? Now, in terms of the change, I question whether one needed it, but it came in a bill which also had provisions to make the NMP scheme permanent.
Correct, yeah.
And other things in terms of video conferencing and digitization. So it comes as a raft of measures, and overall I think the bill needed to be supported. But coming back to the issue about quality of debate, I do agree with Gillian. It's down to the quality of the people who come up and speak in Parliament. And we mustn't equate quality with excitement. You can have a lot more exciting parliaments elsewhere. Do they have a higher quality of debate? Unfortunately, some of these policies are matters for serious discussion. They don't make for gripping television viewing.
I think from the ground, we know that as much as you hate noisemaker to come in, from us, our perspective is we also feel that there shouldn't be those people who agree blindly for the sake of agreeing to go in. You see, it's a matter of relativity whether you see this person is good or not. Because to us, some of the PMPs may not be good because they are agreeing almost every now and then just for the sake of agreeing. So where do you draw the line?
I think let's go back to, I mean, in the House, people do oppose, people do support. I mean, people speak a wide range of views. The fact now that the opposition will likely have more voice, would you accept an NCMP seat then if you're so opposed to the scheme? Would your party accept an NCMP seat? Which is the other argument that was thrown out. If you oppose the scheme, yes, your party, you. If let's say you became eligible for an NCMP seat, even though you oppose the scheme, would you take it up?
Personally, I will not take it up.
Okay, and why not?
Because it is my position that if you want me to be in the parliament through this scheme,
legitimately voted.
Yes, you must give me the full parliamentary vote.
And you would have a constituency, and you would.
Yes, and that is my position as a PR, proportional representation system.
Okay, but in other words, you also expect to have PR then before that?
Yes, before I can walk into it. But I will not stop my colleagues to take it up, because to me, this is a stage for them to go in and propose PR. You see, this is a transitional stage.
Could I jump in there? I mean, I appreciate and respect Meng Seng's personal view, but it does mean if you say your candidate, your colleagues can take it up, that means the party's position is that they can take it up. Because you can't have that sort of like dichotomy, which I thought was the difficulty that Mr. Lau had. Either the party is for it or it's not for it. And while I appreciate the point you made that Sylvia couldn't vote on it, and she made an eloquent speech opposing it, but she wouldn't have been able to speak on it. Her voice wouldn't have been heard unless we had the NCMP scheme. And if I can just finish that. The idea of the NCMP scheme is that you can't be treated exactly the same as elected MP because you didn't win in the first past the post. But we are giving you a voice. And the voice doesn't hurt the opposition. It gives them a platform to show how good they are.
Okay, Gillian, just one last point to you.
One last point
on the NCMP scheme.
At the end of the day, it's the citizens that decide. If you've made the policy point that really resounds on the ground, you win it. It doesn't matter if it's a vote in Parliament or not. Secondly, as Singapore becomes more developed, we are a more diverse society and we have new immigrants. The views will span a wide range. We have quite a lot of political consensus in the Senate today. But let's look at 10 years down the road. If these changes are there, you may feel that you want some of that if nothing else changes.
All right, and thank you all for joining us today. Now, these changes have been made in time for the next general election, which has to take place by 2012. We didn't even have time to speak on other amendments, such as having a one-day cooling-off period before voters go to the polls, and even internet election advertising. The changes will have a huge impact on the way the next elections are run. More single seats at stake, 12. There'll be smaller GRCs, and whatever the result, more opposition views in Parliament. Do they meet your aspirations and your desire for diversity of views? Email us or post your views on our forum. Do join us again next Sunday. Good night.